Hello everyone. Today we are going to continue our lesson on chapter 6 about nuclear physics. So let's learn about nuclear reactions in 15 minutes. Before that, here is the learning outcome for today's lesson. At the end of this lesson, students should be able to communicate about nuclear reactions, which in this video, we will be focusing on nuclear fission as well as nuclear fusion. So students, what do you know about nuclear reactions? Can you give some examples of nuclear reactions? And what are the differences between nuclear fission and nuclear fusion? All of these questions will be answered at the end of this video. So, shall we start the lesson now? To begin with, let us look into the first nuclear reaction in this topic, which is nuclear fission. What is meant by nuclear fission? Nuclear fission is a nuclear reaction when a heavy nucleus splits into two or more lighter nuclei while releasing a large amount of energy. Can you imagine that? This is an example of nuclear fission of uranium-235. What happened in nuclear fission is the uranium-235 is bombarded with a neutron. It will then become a highly unstable nucleus of uranium-236. So, this unstable nucleus of uranium-236 will subsequently be divided into two different smaller and lighter nuclei while releasing 3 neutrons as well as a large amount of energy. And the two produced nuclei will be the barium-141 and also krypton-92. Then, these 3 neutrons will bombard other uranium-235 and causing the nuclear fission to happen over and over again. This is what we call a chain reaction. This nuclear fission reaction can be written in an equation form like this, where the uranium-235 is being bombarded by a neutron, producing a very unstable nucleus of uranium-236 that will further split into two different nuclei, the barium-141 and krypton-92, while releasing 3 neutrons and energy. Do you still remember the chain reaction I talked about before? So this is how the chain reaction of nuclear fission happens. When a heavier nucleus is being bombarded by a neutron, it will split into 2 lighter nuclei and release 3 neutrons as well as abundant amount of energy. The 3 neutron release will then further bombard other heavy nucleus and produce the same thing as before. This process will happen continuously over and over again, creating a chain reaction. To summarize, this is what happened in nuclear fission reaction. First, a nucleus is bombarded by a neutron. Number 2, the nucleus becomes unstable. Number 3, the nucleus undergoes fission. Number 4, it produces 2 different nuclei. And lastly, it will release energy and 3 neutrons. Now, moving on to the next nuclear reaction, which is nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion is a nuclear reaction in which small and light nuclei fuse together to form a heavier nucleus while releasing a large amount of energy. It happens under extremely high temperature and pressure. Now, from this example of nuclear fusion, we can see that deuterium and tritium move at a very high speed and collide with each other. It then combines with each other to form a heavier nucleus, which is helium, a neutron, and also a large amount of energy. This nuclear fusion reaction can be written as an equation like this, in which the deuterium and the tritium combine with each other to form a helium, neutron, and energy. So, to sum up the nuclear fusion, this is what happened during the reaction. First, 2 nuclei move with high speed. After that, both nuclei collide with each other and combine to form a heavier nucleus. It will then release energy and neutrons. Now that we have learned about nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, let us look at the differences between nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. The most obvious difference is that in nuclear fission, nucleus of an atom splits into lighter nuclei, while in nuclear fusion, 2 or more light nuclei collide with each other and fuse together to form a heavier nucleus. Other than that, in nuclear fission, when each atom splits, a tremendous amount of energy is released. However, energy released during nuclear fusion is several times greater than the energy released during nuclear fission. Next, in nuclear fission, little energy is needed to split an atom in nuclear fission reaction, while in nuclear fusion, high energy is needed to fuse 2 or more atoms together. Now, talking about the application of this nuclear reaction, you should know that atomic bomb works on the principle of nuclear fission, while the hydrogen bomb works on the principle of nuclear fusion. Now, after all of the explanations and examples, let's answer some questions to test your understanding in nuclear reaction. Now, let's look at this question. Question number 1. A nucleus of uranium-235 will split when it captures. What do you think is the answer? Well, the correct answer for this question is C, a neutron. A nucleus of uranium-235 will split when it captures a neutron. For your information, the keyword for this question is split. The word split. At this point, when you hear the word split, you must already know that it refers to nuclear fission reaction. In order for nuclear fission reaction to happen, the uranium-235 will be bombarded by a neutron and split into two different lighter nuclei. Moving on to question number 2. Which of the following nuclear reactions is an example of fusion? So, what is the answer? Let's find out together. As we all know, nuclear fusion is a combining or fusing of two lighter nuclei to form a heavier nucleus while releasing a neutron and a large amount of energy. Therefore, from list of answers here, only D shows the fusing of two nuclei and producing one heavy nucleus, neutron, and also energy. Therefore, the answer for this question is D. I hope everybody answered this question right. Now for this last question, question number 3, first you need to look very carefully at this diagram. We have here a neutron and a uranium-235. Most probably the uranium-235 is bombarded by this neutron, producing two different smaller nuclei here, a barium and a krypton, while releasing these three neutrons. So, based on this diagram, it can be deduced that this is a nuclear fission reaction. Now, figure above shows the beginning of a chain reaction. The chain reaction occurred because, so this question asks us what caused the chain reaction to happen. So, from our lesson throughout this video, we will definitely know that the answer is C. Free neutron bombarded other uranium nucleus. So when this happens, when the released three neutrons bombarded other uranium nucleus, it will release the same thing as before. And this cycle will be repeated over and over again, creating the chain reaction. So, I guess that marks the end of our video today. I hope everybody gained a lot from today's video about nuclear reaction. See you again!